happening, folks? We're live right here on the mean streets of Marshfield, where I risk my life every single day when I exit this house and go out to the world headquarters to make you that TMD liquid gold. Guys, it's Sunday night, TMD Live. We got a couple special guests tonight. I'm not going to waste a lot of time. We're going to get right into who they are. One of them, you know, as the man. Now, like I said, if I had a basketball team, this guy's the sixth man. He's the scrappy guy. He brings all the energy. He does the little things. We got David Hughes from Michigan, Hughes Maple Farms. What's going on, David?
Not much, Mr. Tim. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing all right. I just bumped up my energy level because I was dragging the last 3 days. I'll tell you that. From the maple season, it kind of had me worn out a little bit, but it's good to get on here tonight and talk maple talk. We might get into some other topics. Who knows what's going to happen?
By the sounds of it, it's probably what's going to happen.
Right. Normally, we have a third guy, Nate from Ohio, but he took the night off. What's up with him?
I don't know. He's slacking as normal.
That's right. So we did one thing. We did one better. We got a new guy here tonight, and he comes from an area of the country that I've never been there before. And he comes from Maine. I think that's on the East Coast, right? We got Scott Dunn from Dunn Family Maple. Dunn, welcome to the TMD Sunday Night Live. How's it going?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good, Scott. How are you?
Yeah.
Hanging in there.
Yeah, Scott, now you're new to the program, okay? We got quite a few people on here watching already. So, guys, if you're out there watching, share this across all the platforms because we want to build up the audience. We want to really have a great turnout tonight. So, Scott, you're from Maine. They obviously have internet there because you're on here with us.
Uh-oh. We lost Tim.
We lost him. He's gone.
Yeah, we're running the show now. So keep on going there, Scott.
Yeah, so this is my first time on here, but I'm guessing we're just going to talk a little bit about maple, about every piece of it. Tim's back.
I'm back. I lost it for a second. But before that, I lost that. What? I don't know if I missed it, but tell us a little bit about your operation out there. What you got going on? Where are you located in Maine?
We're in southern Maine, about half hour, 20 minutes from Portland, so we're not that far up.
Okay.
We've got about 1,600 taps. We've been boiling now. This is our 10th year. I made syrup in Vermont as a kid and then moved up here for college and stayed. So it's kind of been just a growing thing since then. Last year we made 400 gallons. That was our big year. I don't think we'll hit that this year. These temperatures are crazy this year.
Okay. So is the season going forward right now? Are you done? You kind of see what's going to happen or?
No, we're still going. The flavor changed. We went to a dark flavor the other night, and I don't know how long we'll stay there. I'm pretty sure we'll head to a very dark here right off. We're on primarily red maples, and they're pushing the buds pretty hard, but they haven't let them loose yet. So we'll see. This week. We're going to get some freezing nights, which has been a thing that we haven't had. The coldest we've got is about 20, hovered around, 33 most of the time, or the 40s.
Okay.
So it's going to be interesting what goes on this week.
Okay. So, you said you've been at it about 10 years. You were originally from Vermont?
Yep. Yeah, I grew up right around Killington, Vermont, and went to school there, and then moved up here for college and stayed.
Oh, okay. Do you have wife, kids?
Yeah, I got my wife, and then I got two girls. My wife and the oldest are coming home from a dance competition right now. They were in Mass for the weekend, so they'll be back shortly. It's just me and the little one, and the dog. So we've been living the life this weekend without the boss in the house. So
Okay.
it's been a good time.
Yeah. And then of course Scott is he's got a YouTube channel. So if you like checking out maple stuff and everything that's going on there, check him out, subscribe to his channel. David, he has the same thing as well. You know, check these guys out if you're interested in that. You probably can learn something, and you know, I'm sure they're going to be happy to answer questions that you might have if you even contact them directly. So, yeah, I mean, kind of the same situation here where it hasn't been a typical maple syrup season here in Wisconsin. The weather's been really wacky and weird, like it has, you know, pretty much everywhere, I guess you might say. And we're at probably about 2/3 of what we had done the last two seasons. And the last two seasons were very good for us. So we're at about 2/3 of that. And don't know if we're quite done yet. We're kind of waiting to see. It was cold here today. I think it only got up to like 26 or 27. So trees, you know, that don't look real good either, but we'll see. We're kind of just waiting here to see what happens, and maybe it's done. Maybe it'll go a little bit longer. David, what's up with you in Michigan?
Same story. Believe it or not, the spring peepers and my trees, my soft maples, they have been flower budded for almost 2 weeks. You know, it's where they pop and they get the little white arms that stick out of the, you know, the buds. But the spring peepers have been out for, like I said, a week. And now we're looking at, my extended forecast is saying like mid 20s, low 20s at night, and mid 30s for the day for the next 2 weeks.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's kind of what it shows here. You know, we'll see what happens with it. I'd like to, you know, obviously get a little bit higher on our totals, so hopefully it pans out.
I made some syrup last week here without an RO, because you know that whole story, but it was 1.2% sap. I took in 1,400 gallons on 1,100, 1,200 taps, somewhere right in there. That last one day it froze, and I made some of the best tasting stuff I'd done yet in the season, and it was still light. Okay. So that gave me hope, you know, that if we really do get this cold snap, it's going to kind of come back and reset almost.
Yep. Yeah, that's kind of what we're thinking, hoping for. We got comments. We got a few comments. Open Gate, he says, I won't be watching. I have mass at 7 p.m., but I will pray for all of you. So, thanks, Dave.
Thank you for your service.
I appreciate it, Dave. We got Dennis. He's from Wisconsin. Good evening. Have a sweet day. We got Dave from Southeast Minnesota. We got Kyle Scott. A lot of people. The pressure is on. Let's keep getting the people up there, guys. Let's keep bumping that total up. I want it to hit over 100 tonight. Okay. Let's see here. We got Peter still boiling out in New Hampshire. And he also says it went dark Wednesday, but it had some cool nights. All right. Another comment. We'll try and hit some of these comments. Louis Carl, things stopped here for a while. 1 to 2 inches of snow on the ground. High of 23 today. Looks like not much rain this week. Southern Ashland County. Oh, yeah, he's up in northern Wisconsin. Okay. Yeah. So, guys, I guess one thing that I was thinking about talking about tonight. Here, I'm gonna throw this up on the screen. It's a question, and this is the question. And actually, let's let the people with their comments answer this and see what they come up with. So, in the USA, how much maple syrup does the average person consume each year? Okay, so I'm going to go back to the comments. We're going to see what people think the answer to that question is. How many ounces? It's in ounces. How many ounces of maple syrup does the average U.S. American person consume each year?
I'm gonna guess 8 ounces.
We got Jason says 1 quart, so he's saying 32. Jason, you're high.
Way less than that. Way less, 100 milliliters or less, because the majority of the U.S. doesn't eat that much syrup. They just don't know about it. I mean, in the Northeast and the Maple Belt, that's where people are really eating syrup. But
Yeah.
I mean, you go to pancake crap for the majority of the people in the U.S., and that's what they eat. They're not eating real maple syrup.
Right. So let's see what we got for some other guesses here. We got Conrad. He says a quart. You're way high. Well, all right. I see a bunch of comments right now that are pretty much right on. Actually, have it. I'm gonna go with. We're gonna give Garrett the honor here. He's right. This is according to the stats I've seen. It's 3 ounces. Okay.
Wow.
So it's only 3 ounces per year. That's like one of those little tiny 50 milliliter bottles, I think. What can we do, gentlemen? What can we do to help that out, to get that higher? What will you do? What do you do? Maybe on your own business level, and then maybe larger as the industry. What can we do to improve that?
That's one of the reasons why I started my channel, was to try and get people eating more syrup, to see what it takes, to see what it really is. It's kind of the getting the market out there that, we all use the easy button with COVID, that, it's the healthier alternative for a sweetener. It's got minerals and antioxidants and all of that in it. So if you're teaching people that there's health benefits that go along with this great sweetener, that's how you really get people eating more syrup, is the benefits that go with it compared to the table pancake crap that they buy. And once they get it and they understand the uses for it, that's how you can really market it to get it to be a better syrup. So it's the marketing in your sugar house when you get people from away on Maple weekends. It's the websites. I mean, I know that the Maine Association website, our number one page that we have out there is the health benefits page. That blows everything out of the water other than Maple Month, when we've got the Maple map up. But the health benefits, that page is the busiest page on our website by far every month.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think that's a good avenue to approach it from, for sure. I know that, I'll get some customers or groups of people that'll buy larger, trying to get, a little bit better price. And that's what they use instead of sugar. They use that for their baking, cooking, whatever. So, David, what do you think about that?
Definitely. I'll just write off what Scott said. Same thing. I think we need to better educate people. A lot of people just don't know. How many people just go around and talk about syrup? Let's be honest. My goal is to go to these, not just farmers markets, because those people generally are already in that mindset, or kind of somewhat educated on it. I want to start going to like the county fairs and these other little pop-up type things and events, and setting up and talking to people and educating people. Definitely the health side of things, especially with the sugar. I am pushing a lot of granulated sugar now, and telling people to put it in their coffee, bake with it, etc. That's kind of the route I'm going.
Yeah. Here we got Brian. He says, I push the natural healthy sugar.
There you go.
Yep. We got Joel. He says the main customers are people that are looking for the healthy alternative. They buy from him monthly. So, that's going to be, you're going to get a lot of your customer base from people that realize that, and that's something they value in how they live their lives, like how themselves and for their family, and the way that they're buying their products and things like that to prepare their foods and whatnot. So I mean, I'll tell you, I can't even. The corn syrups, that's just some bad stuff. I mean, it's just nasty.
Yeah.
It makes me angry.
And it's in everything.
Yeah, you are right. The corn.
It's in
You go in the grocery store now, you can't hardly find anything that doesn't have corn syrup.
No.
That's kind of crazy.
It is.
It is kind of crazy. What's going on with that? There's something going on.
It's cheap. It's cheap, and the majority of customers are getting squeezed at the grocery store right now. So if they can pinch a penny, they're going to win. I mean, think about it. In the Northeast, we know where we get our syrup from. You either buy direct from the consumer or you buy it at the grocery store. If you live in Arizona, the only place you get syrup is the grocery store. Yep. So if you've got people that are shopping by price and they've never known the difference, you never get your chance at that customer because they go to whatever you call the grocery store down there, the Piggly Wiggly or ShopRite or Hannaford. That's all they know because they've never gone out and experienced what goes into maple syrup and the benefits of it. So it's up to us to educate those people, but those markets are hard because you got to ship it there, and shipping just keeps getting more expensive.
And
so yeah, I mean, and then they want it in glass because it looks pretty, but you got to overpack it because the post office is rugged.
Oh,
I mean, they like rage war worse than Ukraine and Russia on a package going across the country right now.
Well,
yeah.
No doubt. It's hard to ship that stuff, especially on my website. I actually put a disclaimer on there because we do list the glass and the plastic for the gallons and the half gallons. And I said for the gallons and the half gallons, we say if you can order it, and we do our very best to pack it, but we will not refund anymore for any broken gallons or half gallons because they're so big and heavy that they broke on shipments. And we'll get the notice from UPS that this was destroyed or whatever. But so we put that on there to discourage people from ordering those big jugs in glass. And
I don't even
it did really change it a lot. Most people do now get the plastic when they order those bigger containers because it's just too risky. Can you imagine that coming through the UPS center or whatever, a big broken jug of syrup all over the place? That must be fun.
That'd be nice. Over every.
We don't even put glass half gallons and gallons out there. I mean, you can put 2 half gallons and a medium flat rate and get it there cheaper than you can anything else. So on the website, we just don't even put gallons and half gallons in glass, just plastic. And I don't even put plastic gallons on the website because the shipping price is just too much of a pain. We just put half gallons, and I haven't had a broken half gallon plastic yet. So
right, yeah, that's why I encourage that. But we still do offer the option.
So I have a question for you guys while we're talking about this. Us as producers take so much pride in that little glass bottle, crystal clear, beautiful maple syrup. How much do you think the consumer really cares about that versus, plastic versus glass and everything? Like what besides us, take us out of the equation. How much do you think the consumer really cares about that?
At the grocery store, they don't. Because at the grocery store, they're buying the majority of the syrup in a plastic quart. I mean, You go to Costco, it's plastic. What are they? They're a 36 or a 34 ounce bottle at Costco. And the other day I was there and they were sampling them. And people were grabbing them like crazy because that's what they know syrup comes in. The majority of people, the average customer doesn't know syrup comes in glass and looks pretty. They see it in a plastic quart.
Yeah.
That might be a bit different than here. I know in the grocery stores that I have my product in, it's mostly glass up through quart size. They're the only ones that are in the plastic jugs are like these guys from out east that are the big packers. But I know I sell glass pints and quarts to most of the stores that I deal with. So that might be a regional thing or something like that. I'm not sure.
What sells better for each of you? Like, do you notice your glass selling more than your plastic or vice versa? Or
on Maple Weekend, I used to think that we sold more glass, but it's pretty close to a 1-to-1 on Maple Weekend plastic to glass quartz, if we're talking that way. The rest of the year, I probably sell 3-to-1 glass quartz between the website and at home, direct to consumer. So it's kind of a mindset, but on Maple Weekend, I mean, they're buying everything anyways, but it's probably a 1-to-1 plastic to glass.
Okay.
Yeah, we got Brian. He's from Wisconsin. He says, I agree with Tim. Very few bottle and plastic in Wisconsin. People want to see their product. So it might be more of a Wisconsin thing. I'm not sure.
Oh, I think that people do want to see it. I mean, they like the look of it. It's just, what's the convenient button at the grocery store? If you went to, say, Arizona, probably very little glass. I mean, the smaller sizes, but like the bigger sizes, quartz is probably going to be all in plastic, just because the weight to ship it there. I mean, it's all coming out of the Northeast, and those pallets get shipped by weight when they're going that far. So, I mean, at that point, it probably doesn't make a difference. But the direct to consumer, I think people are looking to see it, especially, once they've seen it in glass and they know what they're looking at, then it matters.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
We got, let's see, get some comments there. We got, I might myself picking up some glass in the store, check the thickness and the bubbles. Okay.
Okay. Yep.
You guys got any more thoughts on, like what? So you talked about a Maple Weekend. You guys are both doing that?
Yep.
A Maple event of some sort?
Yep. Yeah, so in Maine, it started 41 years ago now as Maine Maple Sunday. It started with basically a misprint in a newspaper. And next thing you know, there was people showing up at a sugar house, and the family started cooking pancakes and doing all that. So people got talking at an association meeting, and they said, well, let's do Maine Maple Sunday. And they did it, and it grew, a handful of sugar houses. And now it's over 100 that participate. We had to coin it Maine Maple Sunday Weekend, because you've always got those people out there that they kind of think ahead a little bit, and they go and they steal a website or something for Maine Maple Weekend, so the association can't benefit from it. They try and just have get it for themselves. But we do the weekend here. Some producers only do 1 or 2 days, and we're busy here. There's lines for everything. Pancake breakfast, blueberry pancakes or plain pancakes. We've got a donut machine. The sugar house is running. We're making syrup. Tours through the woods, tours inside the sugar house, and sales. So it's quite a weekend. It stresses me out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of interesting. This last Saturday, I think, here was the quote unquote first tree tapping, because traditionally on the calendar, I mean, that's pretty close to probably when the season really gets going, but it's almost like they just did that and the season's basically over here, to tell you how strange the weather has been. The season's been off this year, but we have done a maple event ourselves. We didn't do one this year. I don't have one planned. I just couldn't get to. There's just too much to do. I can't get to it all anymore. But we have done a couple, like in the last 4 or 5 years, we've done it probably like 3 times. We had an open house, called it Maple Madness. We had vendors come in that made other maple products, or like maple cookies. We had a guy that did like a maple pizza, and a pottery person that did like mugs and stuff and things. But yeah, I don't know that I ever made any money on it, because I had to have so much help to do it, and it was a lot to put it on. But it drew in a lot of people. But this year I just couldn't. We didn't get around to planning it. So maybe in the future we'll do another one.
Mine is through the Michigan Maple Syrup Association. So they kind of put it out there, and you got to sign up ahead of time, and then they put up pamphlets and everything. And there's other, sugar bushes that do it. I think I'm one of 2 in my entire county in the southern half doing it this year. But another thing that the guy that was supposed to be doing my pancakes and stuff unfortunately passed away yesterday. So I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing there. It's advertised as we're having a, pancake breakfast and all that. So I got to try to figure something out there. We'll have our cotton candy machine going, but no pancakes as of right now. So
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ways. I mean, I know like you guys, you're on YouTube, and do you feel like that helped you at all? Getting some of that out there, the content out there for that.
I think most of my content's going towards sugar makers. There are a few other people that know me that kind of gets it out there, and then I don't know. I cross post all my videos onto my Facebook pages, so I'm picking up the people, customers as well as friends that are watching it, and then they share it out. So the reach is going, but it's definitely more geared towards sugar makers. But it shows what actually goes into making syrup and the processes of it, rather than just Maple Weekend where you show up and people are like, "Oh, maple syrup, perfect." Because I mean, for me, it might just as well be a full-time job pretty well year round, and then right now it's like having 3 full-time jobs. So people can kind of see that, they see the work that goes into it. They don't balk at the price so much.
I was just gonna say that.
One big thing with anything is you're never going to get more than you ask. And I mean, if we were selling syrup for $10 a quart, people would be like, "Oh, perfect, $10 a quart. You guys are like the cheapest around." And they're not going to be like, "Oh, that's too cheap. Here's $20 instead of 10." So we're not the cheapest, we're not the highest, but we're at a price that people respect because they understand what goes into it.
Yeah.
So it's one of those that when they understand it, especially once you explain the process, they don't even think about it anymore. They're willing to pay.
Back to education,
Yeah.
Right. Like the last thing that I want to participate in is the race to the bottom, to be the cheapest guy out there. And in Wisconsin, that's something that plagues us here. Just you got a lot of guys who they love the shiny equipment and all that type of thing, and they want to kind of brag and say they made this amount of syrup or whatever, but they have no plan or no idea how to sell it once they have this maple syrup made. So then it's just come like, let's dump it. Here's a guy, Vince, he says $10 a quart. I see that out here yet. In Wisconsin, that's not unheard of.
Are you? Wow.
So yeah, I mean, you look at right now with Costco, they just moved in around Portland by us, and they're selling syrup cheap. So when people go there, they're like, "Oh, I can buy it." And they come here and they see my price at $22 a quart, and they go, "Oh, I can buy it cheaper at Costco." Okay, go ahead.
It's not apples to apples.
Right.
It's
so, but if they say that, I don't care. Go buy it someplace else cheaper, because I don't think I'm gouging people. I think it's a fair price. And once people understand, they get it. But there's stories out of Vermont where a sugar maker, he's at the top of the hill and he's getting, say, $20 a quart. The guy at the bottom of the hill is selling it for $15 a quart. And people go to the top of the hill, they drive by that one to get to the other sugar maker, buy it, and they go, "Why is that guy down there selling it so cheap?" And he goes, "I'm not sure." And they don't realize that guy was buying that guy's barrels of syrup and reselling it for a higher price because he needed more. But what it is it's value on the product, and people have bought into the other sugar maker's story. They bought into his family, and they respect his syrup, and they know it's a quality product. There's people that will drive by the cheap guy because they go, "What's wrong with it? Why is he selling it so cheap?" You have to value yourself. That's what it really comes down to. If you want to be the cheapest, I don't want to buy from you the cheapest, because it tells me that there's something wrong with it. But I also don't want to buy from the high price guy either. There's a happy medium of being fair priced that's for the market, and that's where I try to be.
Yeah. Well, and think about this. Another thing is, has anything that we have to buy or we need for doing this gone down in the last couple of years? No.
Nope.
But yet it seems like it's moving mountains to get maple syrup producers to realize that and adjust their prices accordingly. I mean, that just blows my mind.
Well,
It's like everything costs more, but yet we're still going to sell it for $10, $12 a quart because that's what we've always done. Well, you're just working for less then.
yeah. That's one thing I don't understand about the really big producers. Wouldn't you think they would want, okay, yeah, they're doing more volume, they're making more product. Wouldn't you still want to sell it for the same instead of lower your price? Then
Yeah.
you're actually, you see, it doesn't. Why would you make more and sell for less? Why wouldn't you just try to keep the price the same?
So the hard part with the really big guys is they look at it and say, I make so much syrup that I'm selling on the bulk market for what's the price now? Let's call it $22 a gallon if you bulk it to a packer. If they can sell it and
Right.
make, say, $30 a gallon
Right.
out of their sugar house, they're still doing better. There's a guy in
Things are doing
Vermont
better.
who
I get
sells three gallons for $100. He's still doing better than selling it to a
Right.
packer.
And that's where
So-
this
Right.
it's just the Wild West. It's
Right.
It's all a bunch. That's one thing about this whole maple world that frustrates me is exactly what you just described.
Yeah.
Because it's just kind of like a free for all, and exactly what you said does apply to those guys.
So isn't this the reason the Federation started in Canada? Like, it wasn't this the goal of them, is to like try to create a baseline? Isn't that what they originally?
They tried to create stable pricing. So up there, sugar makers are looking to get loans and all of that. And with volatile pricing, you really, it's hard to do that because you never know what the price is going to be from year to year. They make so much syrup that the direct to consumer, they can never sell it all that way. But by having the warehouses, they're able to keep the price steady as it goes.
Mhm.
Now, people get mad in the US when they take syrup, and the US packers are not going to pay more for a gallon of US syrup than they can buy it out of Canada for.
Right.
That's just the way it is. And then you figure in the exchange rate, and that's how they come up what they pay for US syrup. The US producers can get mad about that price from the packers all they want. But that's a fair and steady price. I wouldn't call it fair, but it's a steady price. But they don't have to work to sell to the direct to consumer market. They literally throw it in a barrel and send it to somebody else, and it's their problem.
Yep.
So for these guys that make, say, 10,000 gallons of syrup, they put it in a barrel and they send it there, and they get mad because they don't make enough. Well, put some effort into it, start a website, work on a direct to consumer, but they don't want to.
Yep.
So don't complain about the price of the bulk syrup then.
Yeah.
Because it all goes together. And yes, it may not be the best price, but it's a fair price right now. You look at my sugar house, doesn't make any money. Everyone knows that they don't make money, but it has to look really nice. There's sugar houses out there that sell all their product bulk, that they literally are the cheapest buildings that they can build because they don't need to worry about that direct to consumer market. They don't need, people don't come into their sugar house and look at and see like, wow, you don't need amenities, that type of thing. So they can run a cheaper operation than I can. So it all kind of, it correlates how you do it. I mean, there's a guy in New York and he makes some great syrup, but he makes it out of like 2 or 3 shipping containers because his goal is to have the cheapest building he can because the building doesn't make any money. The woods make the money. So he puts all his money into the woods. 3 shipping containers, he makes syrup and it leaves on a tractor trailer and he's happy. He doesn't have a $3 million building.
Yeah. Interesting.
Oh, I hear you. Yeah, it's just kind of a crazy. It's not everybody is ever on the same page at all. So
the one thing about it is this country was built on, if you want to work for it, you can do it. and you can do it your own way. You don't have to do it the way. I mean, it's like sugar houses. There's not two that are the same.
No.
So do what works for you. I mean, there's a lot of people around here that do different things, and they're like, "Oh, you got to do this, you got to do that." Well, they don't work for me, and then it's not my way, and my way works for me. So, and that's the difference. That's why it's fun going to a lot of different sugar houses, because there's always something to learn. There's always something to see. It's not the same.
Yep. Agreed.
Let's hit some comments here, guys. We got one. Oh, look who chimed in here. I mean,
he has enough time to get on here to do that, but he can't.
That is an impressive mustache.
He's at the movies right now texting.
That's not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's epic. Mustache and go. It's right up there. It doesn't get a lot better. Yeah, so I mean, that's been a frustration of mine for years, is kind of competing with the guys that just will want to undercut by a buck, no matter what you do. And value your work, value your labor. That's something I never wanted to get into. Was I want to get paid for the time and the effort that I put into it. And by no means, I know I'm not going to ever get rich doing this, but it's just, you want a fair price for your product. But I think a lot of guys out there have no clue their cost of production. They have no idea. I mean, it's just not something that ever enters the equation.
Yeah. Well, with farmers, which, I mean, everyone that makes syrup is a farmer. Farmers do this more for passion than they do a lot of other things. And when you do that, you undervalue yourself to a certain amount, because you don't want to ask more than you think it's worth, to a point, meaning you don't want to gouge somebody. You want to be fair. But you also don't really figure in how much everything costs when you do it. I mean, when you buy an RO, you don't figure out, okay, it's going to last me for 10 years and I'm going to make this, it's going to run for this many hours, so it costs this much an hour, and then I need to figure that into my cost of syrup. You don't do that. You just buy it and then you make it work, because most every farmer's running on a cash business, not an accrual business. So when you do those things, you don't really value your product. A lot of farmers aren't, economics majors.
Right. Oh, exactly. And I mean, you're probably the same pretty much everywhere. Probably maybe not so much in Vermont and as much, but like in Wisconsin, the vast majority of people that are doing syrup are not doing it for a living as their sole income. I'm one of the rare ones that do. I mean, it's literally what I do for a living. And so when you don't, I mean, it's kind of like, unless I always say, my saying is, I mean, don't take it the wrong way, but if you're not doing it for a living, it's kind of a hobby. I mean, in a way. And, I'm in a very little teeny portion of people that actually, this is my full-time income. So you're kind of out there in the same bowl as a lot, but I'm not huge. I'm not Biscoe Maple Farms out here or anything like that. And so you're kind of in the same pool as a lot of the guys that are just throwing it out there $10-12 a quart, type of thing. So you're in with them. So it makes it's difficult. It's not easy.
Yep. I think you should know your personal numbers, your setup, kind of sit down and just kind of what you were saying, Scott, do what works for you. Know your numbers and then sell your product for what you value it at, what your numbers are. I think of it like hunting or anything. Well, let's just say anything in life. You're going to get what you put into it. If I go to these farmers markets and all these events, I'm going to get more sales. If I had a full-time job and then did this as more of a hobby, like Tim's saying, I'm not going to sell as much. You get what you put into it.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I don't sell any syrup bulk. I don't sell anything in the drums. So we, market it all ourselves and try to make the best we can, of that. And definitely there's a lot more work involved in that end of it. And it's hard to, it's not an easy product to sell, I would say, because there's a lot of people, Wisconsin, there's a lot of people doing it. A lot of people on all different levels.
Well, Scott's over there by Vermont and Maine,
right.
And that you're in this, got to be in the same boat, Scott.
So the difference for us is I've got a decent population base in southern Maine. You go to Vermont, there's 3,000 sugar houses in the state. So you're tripping over sugar houses that everyone knows a sugar maker. Everyone has one on their street. And they've got under 1 million people, I think. Vermont, I mean, they're losing population there right now. In Maine, we've got 1.2 million people, I think it is, and we've only got 500 sugar houses. So when you do that, especially on like Maple Weekend, there's only 100, 110 that participate in it. So it's not like it's a huge number. So then you take the big population base around Portland that we do fairly well and we draw big crowds. You get to the northern part of the state, they don't have the big population bases, so they're not going to get the crowds that we get. And there's fewer sugar houses up there still. So Vermont, a lot of them don't do it because they're only going to get, 40, 50 people that come in. For us, I've got, 90 to 100 people standing in line for pancakes in the morning. So it's a balancing act based on population as well as numbers of sugar houses.
Sure.
Maine Maple Weekend, the media picks it up huge here, so everyone knows that it's Maple Weekend. There's the map on the association page that we can pump people to. It's very much become that's what you do on the fourth Sunday in March is you go to Maine Maple Sunday when you're in Maine, because it's been marketed for 41 years now.
Yep.
And it takes working together. Now, are there sugar houses that go in and say, do things to try and get ahead? Sure. Everyone has the people that are trying to get ahead because you're fighting for the same customers to a certain extent. For me, I'm more worried about putting out a quality product in the syrup as well as a quality event. I'm looking for things that I would enjoy if I went to. And I'm looking to create an experience that people can come to year after year. That's what our Maple Weekend is more about, is a quality event where people leave and there was value. I don't want people leaving and feeling like, wow, I got screwed there. I paid high price syrup and I don't think I got it. All I did was stand in line and got pushed through the place. Where, I mean, for us, I've got about 35 people that help me on Maple Weekend, and they're all busy, but they're all really good at what they do. I don't even go in the sugar house and run it. I check on them 3 or 4 times and make sure that they're good, because those guys have it down. They can tell the story. They can tell them how it operates. They can do everything in that sugar house that I can be down in the woods explaining, checking lines, explaining temperatures, explaining tapping, things that those guys don't know as much about. The people that are in charge of the donut machine have that down. Pancake Breakfast runs like a machine. Samples is out there, to where we've created an experience that people are seeking.
Sure.
Rather than just come buy some syrup and get out.
Right.
Yep.
We got this guy says, sorry, TMT, Bob's Sugar House in Dover, Foxcraft, Maine has the best maple syrup on the planet. It's Dave.
Bob's been doing it for a while. He makes some good syrup.
Dave's always giving me crap on all these platforms, but guys, I don't know about this. I don't know if you can see it. I don't think so, because I'm in control of this whole show here. We might have to take a vote. If we should allow this next individual onto the broadcast.
Oh boy, I know where this is going.
Yeah, we got somebody who wants to join here late in the game. Should we let a certain individual from Ohio on?
I don't
know.
Kind of
a legend.
Right? Yeah, I don't know. He just put me to work, like free child labor.
Well, I think against my better judgment, we're gonna bring him on. So, no, I think the views are just gonna drop immediately. Here we go.
Joe,
We got Nate. Nate, what's happening? Good to see you. You're on.
somebody said my name. I heard it like out of the blue.
We just
Out of the blue.
Somehow I think I said against my better judgment we will put you on, but here you are.
The other day, I was asked to bid against Lincoln County Reserve, and yeah, it was like, "Do you want to bid on this business?" And I was like, "No," because there's no way he's making money. The best thing that could happen is for him to sell more. Like I was like, "No, like I'm not bidding on this. There's no way I'll bid against it. It's the cheapest maple syrup out there."
Hey, that's interesting. Let me try.
Yeah, like let him keep selling it for next to nothing. So he has to pay the farmer less to compete. Like it's just a no-win situation. I guess it's a little bit different than what you guys were talking about. I've been listening in since the drive over.
The Lincoln County Reserve guy. I mean, maybe we're burning a few bridges here, but
the best thing that could happen is he does more sales.
All right. Yeah, no, I ran into that.
The competitor in me wants to like compete. I'm like, I can take him down. And then I'm like, no, he can take himself down.
I said the exact same thing to the guy.
You did too?
Personally. I talked to him. I said, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? It doesn't make sense. You're not making any money, and it hurts guys like me.
Well, if you think about it, if the customer came to me, how would I get the business? What would I need to do?
Well,
I'd have to be cheaper, right? Like,
yeah.
How is that possible?
I don't know how you'd be cheaper than that.
No, like I don't care how many times you change dollars into quarters, you're just not going to make money.
Yeah,
like,
no, I know what you're talking about very much in detail. Know what you're talking about. So,
yeah,
I met the guy.
How we doing on numbers? There was like 30 some when I jumped in.
I think they just dropped because you jumped on.
I am ugly.
Well, I guess you're seeing the YouTube maybe. I'm seeing.
How's Facebook looking?
We got a total of 75 right.
That's really good.
That's good.
Heck yeah.
70. So
what else? What did I miss before the court pricing discussion? Attaboy.
What's I'm trying to go back and look now. I think we were just kind of.
Are we going to talk about that topic you brought up, Nate? I want to see you and him go back and forth a little bit.
Which one?
the 60% deal.
Oh, the 62. Yeah. Like buying sap.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to irritate Tim.
And you would. Yeah.
Everybody in Wisconsin's gonna be like, we won't do it. We want 62%.
Well, exactly. You're just ginning people up to come to my place now, and that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna want that.
Nate Bissell said 62%.
At that point, it wouldn't even make sense for me. I might as well just buy the barrels. Honestly,
I don't know if you guys saw that video, but it was crazy. It was tanker after tanker. These guys haul 50,000 gallons a day per truck.
It was a river.
Oh my gosh, it's unbelievable.
Yeah,
and
his sugar house is pretty impressive. When I was there and he had the old oil rigs, it was pretty awesome. When
you remember all the PVC and all the like drop-off stations? Yeah. We had
he's got the rafters filled with parts and pieces and breakers and everything else. The parts.
When was the last time you were there, Scott?
Oh, he froze.
Me?
No, Scott froze.
Yeah, he did. Everybody do the Scott.
What? Here we got a question. I mean, not to go a different direction, but how are your guys' crops still going? Ryan asks this.
No bueno in Ohio.
Ohio not going.
Michigan, undetermined.
Michigan?
Undetermined. We'll know in 2 days.
Yeah, I kind of
Good news.
the same answer. We're kind of, although I will say this, that I have 5 different woods that I tap, 5 different locations. It's very labor intensive because we have to go to all these different locations and haul it all back. But the ones that we tapped mid-February, really slow as of the last run. The one that we tapped like 10, 11 days ago, I was running like gangbusters. I mean, as of the last run. I'm thinking that one might still do okay, even if we have another, like week or 10 days, 2 weeks of good weather coming up. That one probably do very well. So.
Well, I noticed a lot of green shrubbery when I was down with Nate yesterday. I mean, the honeysuckle down there is green.
Okay.
Scott's back, it looks like. Well, no, he's froze again, ain't he?
Yeah. And that's another thing here is kind of coming back on the buying sap whole issue. This guy here, Levon Horton, he asked, when did you guys all have your first boils? I mean, I'm getting kind of tired, I'll be honest with you. We've been at this already here since I started buying sap back on February 6th. So it's been a long time now. And I'm good for about 4 or 5 weeks of this. And after that point, it starts to get a little long. It gets a little drawn out and kind of, it's been.
Do you have a minimum? Do you have a minimum, Tim, on what they can bring you?
As far as volume?
Yeah, like sap. I remember the first year I bought sap, and I was like, yes to everybody. And then somebody would show up with like a 275-gallon tote. And it was like, this is not worth it.
Oh, we'll take that. Yeah. We'll do the 275s.
I had a guy bringing me 5-gallon pail at a time this year with the biggest grin on his face. And he just could not get enough, hang out for a couple hours. And he's getting an 8-ounce syrup bottle, and he can't wait for it. Sometimes you just gotta,
So you trade for teaspoons.
Something like that. The last people I
Every pail gets you a tablespoon.
Yeah, well, last people I did that for have 300 taps now.
But here's, like, getting back on the whole 62% thing that guy was, J.R. Sloan. When I first heard that guy's name, I thought, this guy's from, like, Montana or Texas. J.R. Sloan. He sounds like the Maple Cowboy or something.
From Dallas. Yeah, the Dallas. It's from Dallas.
But
J.R. Ewing.
But what the heck? Yeah, the 62%. Here's my thoughts. The 62%, and he's hauling it. Okay, when customer or seller, not really customer, seller comes with his, say he's got 1,000 gallons of sap. Okay, he's going to get 620 gallons worth of payment. No questions asked. He's going to get that, demand that. He's going to want that for sure.
Yeah, but I don't think JR's bringing in 1,000 gallons.
But I'm just saying, as a
easy number. Easy number.
Make an argument as a number, as an even
sure. Okay.
Math number. He's going to get his 620 gallons worth, or 6,200 gallons, or whatever.
It's a great deal for the sap sellers. What you're saying?
Wait, now think about this. The buyer, the JR there, he's saying, well, 38%. He's not even getting 38%. There's all this shrinkage and loss and all this stuff along the way till it's finally made.
Sure.
That won't be for me. I mean,
and you have to be organic. He only buys organic sap, so that's the other thing. He's kind of like a co-op.
It's crazy.
If I lived in Vermont, I would sell sap. I would not make syrup. And the reason for that, the reason for it is just too many sugar houses to try and compete with the direct-to-consumer marketing isn't worth it to command the high price. If you take and you sell the sap, you make it someone else's problem to market it. You don't have to own a sugar house. You don't own an RO. You don't own anything more than your woods, your tubing, your tanks and something to haul it with. Haul it yourself, you get paid a little bit more than if they're hauling it. Whereas around here, I can't make enough syrup for my market.
Dave, did you tell him what we did yesterday?
I think very vaguely. I don't know. Did we talk about that before, Tim, or was that in this? I can't remember. We talked
that
about
was before we actually went on. You were
okay.
Yeah, so I chained Dave to a brick, and I'm like, use those tools.
Pretty much. That back there cracking the whip. Come on.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Dave's probably like,
fun.
How does Nate put his pants on in the morning? Like, I have no idea how he does it. He uses the wrong end of the wrench. Like, yeah.
The fact that they hide stuff from you just cracks me up.
Oh, they do. Yeah. Any tools that you need?
They don't
like. No. Crescent wrenches are like gold. I don't care how many I buy because you need them, right? You need like 2, 3, like every size. And if you have 2 crescent wrenches, you can fix anything. It's true. And they hide them from me. Yep.
We got Josh Love. I don't know how to say that. First boil was February 11th and cranking out here in Central Maine. So there's a Maine guy for you.
Yeah, I don't think we ever did answer that. Mine was like February 24th, I think was my first boil.
Okay.
We boiled the 13th of February.
You got Vince.
Yeah, we tapped. We were in January. Still didn't matter.
We had a solid 3-hour season here in North Jersey. We're done.
Sounds like enough. You might as well just tap trees in Florida, buddy.
Yeah.
One freeze a year.
So how you were at we got Nate, I don't know how you did it, but we're up to 88 right now.
Oh man.
On the YouTubes or Facebook?
Both, like combined.
Oh, I got you. Cool. Yeah, that's better than we were the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not enough of this, right? So the more we talk, the better. That's why. No. Yeah, all the ladies, they hung up. They were like done. I get the stalkers. The stalker effect.
Yep, here we got David. I don't even jug syrup anymore. I sell mine all bulk. Too many people over here want to sell it for cheap.
Yeah, you shouldn't care what anyone else does.
That's the big thing.
Too many people do.
Right, and that's the big thing is, like with my pricing, I don't worry about anyone else's pricing. The only time that it does kind of play into it is at like the fairs, that type of thing, is that you keep consistent pricing at the fairs so that people aren't looking and going, why is this half gallon this much and this half gallon that much? I mean, a half gallon of syrup is a half gallon of syrup when you're at a fair and you're supposed to be working together. But out of my sugar house, I don't worry about what anyone else is doing. We do our pricing. We put out our product, and if you make good enough syrup, they don't care.
Yeah. Fair.
I was texting Clayton Christie today about barrel-aged syrup. And like 5-6 years ago, I worked with Ohio State University. We can take barrel-aged syrup, test it, and it'll tell us if it's in a barrel or not. And I thought about it like, I was like, yes, I can weaponize this. Then I thought about it. It's like, what good would that do? What good would it do for the industry if I start calling out people who aren't using bourbon barrels? Like, I know, they know. Like, it's still not going to do anything.
Right. I mean, I've got a producer around me that they buy in a lot of product, not just syrup, but everything. Does it make a difference? Nope. So I don't worry about it. I worry about what we do. And I know that
when you say buy in, what do you mean? Like they're buying all their product?
Yeah, I mean, different value added stuff. I mean, I don't have time to make all my value added stuff. And with that, if I do buy something, I buy the very best that I can because I eat the stuff too.
Yeah.
But when it comes to a lot of our product, like say our barrel aged, I've got a story that goes with it because I make it. But if I buy stuff in, I tell people I buy it in because, like candy, you have to be very good to make very good candy. I don't have time.
And you have to do it all the time.
Right, but I buy the best candy that's made in the state of Maine. Period. And
if I was going to buy candy, I'd buy it from Ben Fisk. Like that guy does the crystal coating, which like that's hard.
Yeah,
right. And my candy comes crystal coated out of Maine, but I found the best that I can if I'm going to buy it in if I don't make it myself, because there's value in quality product. Correct. But I don't worry about my pricing with it. I price it for what I need to make on it. And if you've got quality stuff, people don't care. People don't want to pay top shelf pricing for garbage. That's when you have problems.
Yep.
I saw in the comments somebody was talking about glass being cheaper than plastic, which is true, especially in Wisconsin. I think the freight has always been an issue, right? Getting it from Massachusetts all the way, you're shipping a lot of air. And plastic, it is more expensive. It shouldn't be, but it is.
Yeah.
I mean, we used to run different pricing between glass and plastic. Now, everything's the same. A quart's a quart when it comes to retail pricing, and it's just the cost of doing business. Because really what you're marketing is the product that's inside it, not the container. To where a quart's a quart. I mean, it doesn't matter what it's in.
Yeah, Costco sells 16 million quarts a year.
Wow.
Yeah. That's as much maple syrup as the United States makes. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it makes so when I hear all the associations complain about not getting their silk screen jugs, I'm like, yeah, your truckload's probably not that much.
At the end of the day, it's the same thing. If you've got a quality product, your direct consumer business can do really well, and you can compete with the Costco's. I mean, I don't want to sell 16 million quarts. I want to do what I do, and I just want to do it damn well.
You guys ever go to Costco? I've been there like 3 times in my life.
Yeah, it's great.
You been there?
You can go there and take the kids and get a free lunch because they offer all the samples.
Yeah, 12-pack of ketchup.
Hey, Scott. Well played.
You're right. Hey, I got to address, this is Adam Kennedy here. He says, oh, it's the quad channel. That has to do with my ATV content, okay? He said, that's why I was confused. Why I subbed. He earlier said, are you guys talking about maple syrup? Yep, he was hoping we were talking about ATVs. Sorry.
Yeah, what kind of 2-stroke oil are you running in your engine?
I'll be back. Honestly, looking really forward to doing some more of that stuff real soon. So, stick with us. Don't unsubscribe because we'll get back to that. Me and Jack. We'll get.
Well, there you go. It's a good way to educate more people about syrup, right there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he wasn't getting what he bargained for, but he's here. So,
guys.
I like this. This looks like a word problem. Let me get my pen.
I can get my glasses off for this one. Dang. I don't know. What's your guys' opinion? We are 2,400 taps promote on generator once in our own next season, so it would be large.
Go get power.
I think we should haul sap.
Yeah.
Illustrate for power. I don't.
Go get power. You're going to burn up your equipment. You're going to burn up ROs, the drives, the motors, the generator power.
Yeah, even the VFDs, they don't like the signal from generators very much.
Nope. No, you'd have to, if you got to any size, you'd have to put in a power conditioner. They're just, things get real expensive on generator, plus the fuel cost of running a generator. Go to power and haul your sap. You'll be ahead of the game, or, do that the short term, and eventually, depending on what you've got in that 1.5 miles, pump the sap.
If it's your land, right? If it was my land, I'd put power. I'd figure out a way.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll be further ahead.
All the sap runs you're going to miss because your generator's down, would pay for what you would gain if you just put power. And when you bury your power, you might as well bury your transfer line.
There's endless things you can spend money on.
Oh yeah. Tim's like, no, use solar.
Maybe, I don't know.
I saw Rig Ingers thing. I saw it for a second.
Yeah, he makes gas powered ROs.
David was there yesterday.
It was just there yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, they do a good job, but at the end of the day, you still got to deal with a gas component that makes things harder.
Yeah.
Well, in some
My guys,
that's what you have to deal with.
Yep.
My guys went to an Atlas Copco training in just south of Charlotte. It's Rock Hill, South Carolina. They're sitting in the class, and basically, this is what Atlas Copco said. Yeah, you guys are using something the way it was not intended. Like, and it's the same for ROs, right? Like,
Right.
I was always taught 20 years ago in the industry that if it says 1,000 gallons an hour, it means you're getting 500 and 500.
Right.
And you're going from 1 to 2. That's simple. And then as the industry's grown, it's like, we want 20%, 1,000 gallons an hour, 20%.
What are you running your bricks to, Scott?
It depends, is the easy answer. Generally, I want 500 gallons to start it, just so that gives me enough time by the time I concentrate it. So with that, probably 5 or 6. And then, like last night, we were boiling 7.5, just because I was in a hurry, because I had kid coverage I had to deal with. But sometimes if we've got enough sap and I've run the RO long enough, I boil, I don't know. And the reason I say I don't know, because that's a technical unit of measure, it's because the hydrometer doesn't read anymore. It's too far out.
I see.
So, but I kind of do it based on how much sap we have and how long I want to boil. I'd rather boil say 4 hours at the longest. I mean, the latest I went in the house this year was 11:30, and we started somewhere around 5 that night. So, and that was 2,400 gallons of sap or something like that. So it varies. I don't have a consistent number that I use. It's more of what I feel like that night for how long I want to boil.
Yep.
Yeah, we do about 18 to 20 with our machine.
Wow.
So, what else is going on, guys? Nate, you went and saw a movie? What? You saw Dune.
Dune 2. I saw about 3/4. I saw about 3/4 of it. I did a little of that.
Oh. I was hoping you didn't.
I didn't leave.
Come here.
No, I could hear my boys talking. Hey, Dad's sleeping.
So you're saying this is a ripoff of Star Wars?
No, Star Wars is a ripoff of Dune.
Oh, I got the opposite.
1960s, right? So Frank Herbert wrote that in the 60s, I believe. Maybe 70s, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, George Lucas read it.
All the same thing.
Oh my gosh. I would pull your handlebar mustache if I was there.
The worst thing they did is they took Star Trek and they made it into a movie and called it Star Wars.
Yeah. I take it you don't really watch Big Bang Theory. That's like not your thing.
No, they're one of my favorites because
you like it?
So they like both of those, which is weird. I mean,
it was like a month ago. I was in New Hampshire and I walked in. I was at Clayton Christie's place, the MES. He's got this new building, and he did something. All I remember is I go, "Man, that's smart." And he goes, "Smart? If it was smart, I'd have to lose some IQ points." And he quoted that from Big Bang Theory. I'm like, that's hilarious.
Nice.
Yeah, Star Wars, Star Trek. It's the same thing. It's just different people.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not even like a nerd about that stuff, but Star Trek and Star Wars, they're not that close.
No,
right?
They are when you don't like them.
Well, if you don't like them, yeah, you can say.
I'm with Scott on this one.
For real? Like,
For real? Like, what do you guys do? Do you watch Sports Center? Like, what do you do?
Watch TV. Yeah.
I was into Star Wars, all the old ones, and then that when they started bringing them back, that first new one, which was actually supposed to be before, that one with that Jar Jar Binks character.
You got stuck on the Jar Jar Binks, didn't you?
That ended it for me.
Yeah.
I couldn't deal with it after that.
I just focused on Obi-Wan. I didn't, I kind of blocked him out.
I went to the theater for the Jar Jar Binks movie, and then I just never went back after that. I couldn't. It ruined it.
I'm sure pop culture discussion with 4 Maple Farmers is right up there. Actually, it entertains me.
No,
I'm entertained by it.
That's good.
Like, we should do Trivial Pursuit. It would be freaking hilarious.
Yeah. But Dune, you're telling me Dune was made before, and it's basically Star Wars.
Yeah, it is.
I'm not familiar with the Dune, but I've heard of it, but you can kind of convince me to check this out.
Yeah, if you watch it, you're going to be like, this is Star Wars.
Okay.
And then you'll think it's a ripoff of Star Wars, and then when you do your research, you'll find out it's actually predates. Yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. It's called Theory of the First Mover. Who says it loudest and who says it first wins. So, like, the Mississippi River is actually a tributary of the Missouri, but it was a really important river, and Lewis and Clark went across it, and they're like, hey, this Mississippi River, but if it was the Missouri, it would go from like Washington State all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. That's a big freaking river. But because whoever said it first said it loudest, the Mississippi technically, by definition, it's like what flows into what. And yeah, that's where I learned about the theory of the first mover. I'm the biggest bourbon barrel aged maple syrup company in the world. Whoever says it first and says it loudest, right? It's a thing. It's a thing.
All right.
I don't know. You don't have any Oompa Loompas, though.
The Maple Dude is the largest maple syrup company in Wisconsin.
If I say that, it must be true.
Yeah, and what's funny is anybody who argues it's hilarious because it actually helps you.
Right.
It's like my sister-in-law she married her, not cousin, but I always love when she explains it because they share an aunt because they met at a family event. They're not blood related, but they have the same. And I'm always like, aren't you guys cousins? And then they try to explain it, which makes it way better because they're like, no, his aunt's my aunt. And I'm like, that's it. My boys think it's hilarious.
It's on Facebook. Must be true.
Yeah.
Right. Oh man.
That's funny.
Anyone use an auto defoamer? I actually have one for my evaporator, and the thing never works.
Is it the foam fighter?
It's an H2O unit with a little pump on it. The thing never works.
I've got the little glass jar one that sits there, and I use it. It's a pain in the ass. It's never right. It like auto adjusts itself, and I mess with it. But that's kind of like call it my maintenance dose, and I always add a little bit here and there just to make sure because I don't want to get behind because I boiled a flue pan over, and if you guys haven't done it, it's not awesome. So
I've never done it.
I don't screw myself. Yeah, we had a close call one night in the sugar house, and then I know there was a sugar house on May Maple Weekend that boiled over a flue pan. The employee got burned, so it's just one of those that I have it as kind of like a safety net, but
yeah,
I don't count on it because it's the most unreliable piece of crap there is.
Yeah.
I don't use one. It's the one thing I can do because I have fuel oil and auto draw, so it's it keeps me in it.
Yeah.
I miss mine. It's a pet peeve. My old 2.5 by 8, we had one on top, and it was the glass with the the air vent to control your drippage, right? Well, we don't have one now, and it's relying on a person. And anytime I see foam in the flue pan, I'm like, we got to put it in the steam way. That's where it should go. If you have foam in your flue pans, because you're not defoaming in your steam way.
Right.
I should just get one of those things.
I've got mine mounted on the cold sap float box, so it goes in that way. But
so you've got 2 inches of defoamer in your float box at the end of the season?
No, it actually does fairly well because we're pushing it through so fast. But it's still a pain in the ass.
I hate defoamer in the float box. I hate it. Well, it's organic defoamer, which means it doesn't really work. So
there you go.
It's organic though.
Yeah, if it says organic, it must be the best.
It's adulterated maple syrup because it's like 5%, organic defoamer, but it's organic.
Hey, we got.
That's a joke. That's a joke.
4 Kids Farms got a good friend married his dad's cousin.
But opposite sides of the family, right? Like, but still, when they talk about it, it's hilarious. I'm always, get them to talk about it because when they explain it, it's even funnier.
Married his dad.
Don't get in the way of love. Don't get in the way of love.
No.
I mean,
Tim's still sitting there going,
I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out.
My sister-in-law?
No,
still trying to figure it out?
This person, the 4 Kids Farm. I'm trying to figure that out. I'm trying to figure it in my life. I'm trying to relate it to my life and see who that would be. So, a good friend. Never. That's yeah.
I'm not even going to go there.
Organic equals money times source.
Why can't
to buy
the people? I mean, some of the guys at work, they go
marketing.
When we do our shopping, they want to buy all this organic crap, and next thing you know, you can't afford to eat. You take out a mortgage payment to pay for lunch.
Right.
Did you guys see that? I don't know if it was real, but it was a 0% 36-month McDonald's credit card for. I don't know. Somebody sent it to me. I don't know if it was real, and it looked real.
Have not seen
Haven't
that.
seen it.
Because I don't know last time. Listen, McDonald's cheeseburgers, they don't look like cheeseburgers, taste like cheeseburgers, but they're delicious. But it's like $11 for a cheeseburger now.
It's crazy, man. I mean, the way the cost of fry, it's crazy. It's nuts. I mean, I spend every week like $150, $160 on groceries. And it's basically just me, Jack.
It's just, it's probably Jag. He's probably eating like 80% of it.
But it's nuts. I don't know. I can't fit that syrup in my budget. We're out here trying to tell people pay a lot of money for maple syrup.
I love it. Right now, pay later on eggs. Oh. What are you getting for evaporation rate on your unit, Scott? That thing is sweet. I'm telling you, that's a little.
So, the easy answer is I don't completely know, but I'm 80 to 90 plus gallons an hour, I think.
Yeah.
Out of a 2x6?
Yeah, it hustles now. It's got a preheater on it. It's got a bubbler, and we built our own arch with max flue pans. And I was running 2.5 gallons an hour out of the RO last night, concentrate. And
how do you cool your uranium?
Well, all you got to do is, I run a stack temperature of how much glow is on the base stack. So
he is a lead sugar house.
The sides of that flue pan are jumping the whole time now, and we're hustling. It thing's pretty awesome now.
It's sweet, dude. It's sweet.
That is impressive. It's a 2x6.
Yes.
Yeah, it's got a 2x4 max flue pan. The arch, I went to my buddy's fab shop, and it's based off a CDL intensifier for the most part. It's got Inferno grates in the bottom, and then it's got nozzles coming out of the door. The hinges are massive on it. When he was building them, I'm like, man, what are you doing? But the air goes.
If you have to stand on it, you're good.
Right, and then there's a row of nozzles around the top, so we're not completely gasifying, but I can make the thing jump up and down.
Yeah, it's sweet. What's the initials on the front stand for?
Main Fabricators. That was the fab shop that we built it at, so I wanted that on the front, and it had a sign that was I've got to put back on. I was going to change it, but I'm just going to put the old one back on that bolts to the front door too. But yeah, we brought it in when we first built it. The back wall of the firebox went straight up, and we brought it back afterwards a couple of years later, and we laid that back just to get more combustion area in there. And I've got to re-brick it this year, so I'll have a video on that. But the thing hustles, and really, I shut the overfire off and the door are off when we light it. But after that, I just control the fire off the grates as far as heat. I can cut the air back or add more depending on what we need to do.
But I like this question. How do we get more U.S. Americans as opposed to Native Americans or South Americans? We got U.S. Americans.
That's right.
I love it. Hey, there's some other Americans. We got. I like it. So, we want to distinguish.
The second part of that question of just buy more maple products is it's straight up. If you make syrup, it's a story to tell. Because if you have a good story, the product sells itself for the most part. And make quality syrup. That's it. Don't put garbage on the market. If you if you have more customers than you do syrup, don't buy garbage. Taste your syrup if you're going to buy it, because once you put it in your container, you own it. Your value added products, buy the best. Don't skimp on it, because you can make an extra 38 cents. And it's go out there, tell your story. It's put the work in. I mean, you've got to hustle. You're not getting 10 hours of sleep a night if you want to grow your market.
That's right. That's good advice.
Working 8 days a week.
I got a smoky late. Oh, okay.
My big thing is, and I've tried to figure this out, and maybe you guys can help. How do you put more hours into a day? Because I struggle that I can't get enough done in a day. But then I need more days in a week too. So if you guys can
don't do the things you can do the things you should do.
Or do what you can, but do it the best. Don't take on stuff and half-ass it, because if you're doing that, you're not getting ahead.
Yeah.
Well, David can attest to this. I need bearings in the front wheels of my truck, and David can tell you I'm not doing that. I'm not changing the bearings in front of my truck. Yeah. Not unless David comes down, because we'll figure it out. With a ratchet strap, whatever, it's going in.
You had to bring the ratchet strap into it, huh?
Yep.
Did you see the Smoky Lake down there?
That's a heck of an evaporation rate, man.
I mean,
I really want to do my 2x6 boil off. I really do.
I got a Smoky Lake 2x6, and I'm getting 60, 70 without Peter or on wood. All right. I mean, if Mr. Jim says that's what it does, that's what it does. That's what I got to say about that. All right. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Turn back.
We get an extra hour tonight? What's the deal?
No,
it was full back
in a day.
Oh, I got you. Spring forward. That's confusing me.
Yeah. I don't know, guys. This is a good.
There's a question that popped up, and they put it up a couple times now. Taps, change them every year or not? Absolutely. That's the best bang for your buck you can get is changing your taps every year.
We made a colossal mistake this year. We did not use check spout adapters. This would have been right. So everybody looks at their year and they go, why did I do that? Well, it's like once every 5 years you're going to wish you did.
Yeah.
This was the year to use the check spouts.
Yep.
And we didn't because of all the other years that it didn't matter.
Yeah. Shoot, me and Scott had an hour conversation over those before season.
Yeah.
So
do you guys remember the originals where we sucked the little ball right out and they were all on a releaser in your stab tanks? Were you there for that? That was fun.
No, but I had a guy this year that bought a lot of taps from me, and he had a lot of problems with them, and he won't buy them from me again because the check valves they're a complex unit, so to speak. There's more pieces to them than your standard tap.
Correct.
And with that comes more problems. But there's also...
Like they split when he hit it with that sledgehammer, and then he was like, they're breaking!
There's known issues at times with them. Pinholes have come up from time to time. They break, all of that stuff. And what do? If you buy a Lexus has more problems because it has more things going on.
Yeah.
Now, I had a couple break. So if you look at it, like 1% of 100 isn't a lot, right? But 1% of 75,000 is a lot because you've
same percentage,
right? But you've got more time in changing that many and lost production for that big guy. So people that have more don't like it as much when they have that 1%, and I get it. But there's also a cost to doing business that. I run check valves on buckets. I ran them on when I was running sap sacks, and I run them on all tubing. And I won't switch from them because I think that compared to neighbors around me, I get an added benefit out of it.
Yep.
So the little bit of extra cost, I think I do better. But that's just my personal experience with them. If I had 75,000 and I had 750 break with lost production and all of that, I don't know. You've got to do what works for you. But I can tell you, I'm not happy with a 1% breakage as a dealer because you can't put garbage out there. You need to put the best stuff out all the time.
I bought 1,200 of them, and out of the 1,200 I put in, probably about 30 of them with the first tap of my low whack tapping hammer, which is plastic made for them styles, the head would pop off like a perfect clean laser cut, just pop right off. And then I had probably 15 or 20 with a hot needle pinhole right in the back of the head. So the second I hooked it up, I could hear walking through the woods, and I just changed them out, and that was it. So what is that? A total of 50, 60 spiles out of a 1,200?
That's a lot.
That's too many. And
because you don't want to
it's not good enough.
If that was jet engines for your airplane, it would not be an acceptable
quality control issue.
Failure rate there.
But they work.
Only 1 out of 100 jet engines will fail.
Yeah.
But that's not good.
I don't want to be on that plane though with that failing engine.
Lowest bidder.
I mean, one door blows off a Max 8, and we don't let them fly anymore.
Well, it's funny how we take one piece of data that's like specific to us and then just make all sorts of like conclusions from that.
Yeah. What do you guys think about using the stubbies with just the tips? Leaving the stuff on the.
I love stubbies, man. I do. I love stubbies.
Because technically, you're changing just that little piece.
I use that for everything. That's the only thing I use.
Okay.
How about the 1/4-inch spouts? Anybody using 1/4-inch?
No.
Your battery would last longer than I drill, buddy.
So the stubby market, if you're on, and a lot of people have pushed the 5-year drop replacement. If you're using stubbies on that, you're going backwards because you've got a 30-cent stubby that you're putting on there and you're changing out every 5 years. So financially, you're going backwards on a stubby system if you change on the 5-year rotation. Now, if you run your drops until the squirrels eat them down to the tee, then you're ahead on the stubby system. but it's all kind of where you're moving. And
Yeah.
I'm not on a complete 5-year cycle, but I'm pretty close. And for that reason, I don't use stubbies. I use the seasonals.
I'm
Do
still
you flush your lines at the end of the year, Scott? Do you backfeed, permeate, or anything?
No, I suck them dry and then plug them off. And I cut the old tap off right away and plug
He
it
uses the heavy water that he has to use to cool that uranium loop.
That's true. Yeah. I mean,
That's the ultimate. If you get a nuclear evaporator, you win.
one thing.
I mean, if it jumps up and down, it's pretty close.
That's true.
Can I give a shout out to someone?
Sure.
I show this guy every year. Albert Borntrager, he's just walking off into the.
He's bebopping, dude.
Yeah, he's going away from the camera. So I mean, I didn't get him coming towards it, so it was okay. But he's always heading out to the woods like that. He doesn't slow down. He's fast.
Right.
And you get away. He's like Bigfoot. He's kind of like blurry when you see him. You know, you just don't. You can't get a good picture of it. It's always a blurry picture.
That's funny.
But
what do you do, Tim? How often do you change your drops?
Like seriously, 5 years or something like that. I don't even know. I might
Never.
Yeah.
I never do it.
Never.
I'm essentially needing to replace an entire wood tubing here.
Me too, and I'm just dragging my feet.
Yeah.
What was the guy getting 8 pounds of tap? How often does he change his drops? Did you ask him that?
Never.
Never?
Yeah, they're 11 years old. He's like, well, they have slope.
Were those stubbies too?
Yeah, stubbies. He's like, they're 11 years old. I'm getting 8 pounds per tap.
Yeah.
Why change them?
That's kind of where I'm at a little bit with it. I mean, we still do pretty good, and I don't change those like every 3 years or whatever anymore at all. So, but
I did it once because they're like, you have colors now, and I'm like, oh, I must have to do this. So,
oddly enough, like that oldest woods with that old very old tubing should all be replaced. It still does almost as
25 taps per lateral.
Yeah, it almost. I mean, really, it's really as productive as the newer stuff where I did the installation much better.
If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's why I question it all. I think they're all just trying to sell us more plastic. That's what I think.
Well, they are, but it doesn't mean they can accidentally be right.
Yeah.
So on the trying to sell you more plastic, I think it would be true if it was the manufacturer saying it, but where it's UVM Procter and Cornell saying that, that's where it has some substance to it. If it was Leader CDL saying change your entire woods every year, everyone would be like, oh, no way. Well, maybe not. So, I mean, if you've got someone with PhD behind their name, it means a little bit sometimes.
Yeah.
As long as they're not like a PhD
Like Dr.
in auto
Dre.
mechanics. Right.
Trying to sell maple tap supplies.
There's a guy by me that I don't know. It's just how his family's always done it. They pull their tubing. They literally just roll it out on the ground every year and tap their woods. I think they're about 700-800 taps. Lay it all out on the ground, roll it all out, put a diaphragm pump on it, and pump it to the tank right up at by the house there in the front of the woods. And I'm telling you, some of that tubing is square. There's square tubing on this guy's system. And he's still getting, I think he's still getting a quart per tap average out of that woods. And they're laying it on the ground. They're tapping, the tree. I mean, they're rolling it out every year. And it's like, wow, it makes you wonder. 7/16 spiles on some of it.
Crazy.
So it does make you wonder.
A tap, I don't think their hydrometer is on if they're getting that kind of production out of it. I think they had to check their hydrometer.
I know. I've seen it. I didn't believe it. I've honestly seen it.
We got Josh chiming in. Every woods is different. Some need more maintenance than others. We're not going to argue.
No.
We're going to agree with that.
The one thing, that last comment that was up there about quarter-inch spouts backing up, is I've never had a check valve loosen up. At the end of the season, they pull out just as hard as the day you put them in. Those polycarbonates bite pretty hard into the wood.
I'm nervous when I go to untap that the heads are going to pop off with as many as I had going in issues. I'm nervous about that.
Yeah, I know. I only use a spout puller, and they come out pretty stiff still. So, it's going to be a thing, I think.
Well, we lost Nate. He somehow went off into the.
No, I'm here. I'm here. I just didn't want to see what brand. I didn't want people to see what brand bourbon I have.
Okay. Yeah. That's crazy.
It's that high test stuff.
Well, if I know Scott, his mountains are blue over there.
And I need another.
You guys got to get with the program and get this.
What's that?
Peace tea.
What is that?
It's a Arnold Palmer, pretty much.
Oh,
Gotcha.
the old peace tea. Is that something locally made or brewed or?
It's by Coke, but it's all natural. Natural flavors. It's supposed to be better. To be better. They need to put everything's from concentrate and natural flavors. They need to put maple sugar in here though.
Okay, got the
Yes, they do.
THC.
THC.
Jason says best way to learn how to run lines, book or video. I mean, I do have a video out there that did very well, like about 2 or 3 years ago. So if you want to check that out, I think it's good for the beginner. That was back when I was pounding out the how-to videos. Like about.
I can tell you how I did it. Is I invited a friend that knew what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I had Matt Emmert come out. And he, laid my lines out. It's like breathing for these people. Like, could I have figured it out?
Mm-hmm.
Probably not.
The best way to figure out how to put tubing is to go out, either meet with a sugar maker or go to a tubing class. And
Or watch
no two people or producers are going to lay the woods out the same or install it the same.
Correct.
So it's, find as much knowledge as you can from everybody and put it to what works for you. And
but the discernment to know
for the woods.
But the discernment to know, like, okay, is this person, like, you should listen to people that make a gallon per tap.
And buy a laser.
Yeah, well, those little yellow, like, they had to show me how it worked. The little grading thing. Like, you got to learn how that works, and then you're good.
Yeah, it'll get you in a pinch, but, man, you can't beat a laser.
If you've got slope, like in Vermont, you don't need a laser for the most part.
That's true.
But if you're in flat country, you need a laser, because if you've got a low spot, you're dead meat. I mean, and you got to chase it. I mean, and if you're laying out with a laser, use a consistent interval. If you're putting posts, like I had some this year, the intervals weren't consistent. What a pain that was, trying to do math in your head. Okay, to make it work. Whereas if you're a consistent 20, if you're at 2%, you're at 5 inches every 20 feet.
Yep.
So, but keep it consistent. But yeah, if you've got no slope, get a laser. If you climb mountains like a billy goat, you don't need a laser. Just saying.
Yeah, that's true. Good point, Scott.
Randy.
Make sure you can drive around the whole thing too, like your whole sugar bush. Like when you lay it out, make sure.
Randy.
Be able to get to the end of each main line on a 4-wheeler or a snowmobile.
Maple dude looks like he's been up for 30 hours.
That was Dave. He's looking at him. He's chipper.
I feel like it. I'm not joking. Jason, when can I come over, Maple dude? I mean, if you're in Wisconsin sometime or wherever you are, you want to come over, I'll show you around.
2 a.m. Not loud.
Yeah, except don't come at that hour. Yeah, don't show up then. Oh, man. The thing I'm not even gonna say. Whatever. Yeah, onward we go. Mainline inside tree or outside tree. Always went inside of tiebacks. I would do
Tiebacks.
the tying. Yeah, don't go around the tree and pull on it. I guess that's what I would not do.
Yeah, that's bad.
My buddy Matt, he runs his laterals on one side, so it's easy to check. Like he doesn't run laterals off both sides of his main lines.
Right.
Like it's kind of cool.
It works depending on the woods. I mean, for us, our woods is
Sometimes you
you're
can't.
chasing
I
the
get it.
terrain, but if you're on a good side hill, one side your laterals, it'll make your life easier.
I'm playing with all these layouts right now.
Like,
Look at this. This puts me in the spotlight right now. You guys
I like it.
And then that puts us back. Right there.
That's funny.
I found
He's
something.
learning.
I found something new. Ooh.
How do we do?
What
pick up
type of season
numbers
are
a little bit.
Oh,
Well, okay, wait. I'm trying to get you guys back here. Okay. No, we did pretty good, honestly. I think it actually topped a week ago by like one person.
What?
Yeah, we hit 90 at one time.
I need to be on here less. That's the key.
I think it was 88 last time, if I remember correctly. So now we're down to. I mean, we have been on here, guys, like an hour and 42 minutes. So, and I have been up for 30 hours straight. So, time to go to bed.
He just worked a double.
Yep. Time to go to bed.
well, Scott usually works like 24 hours and a couple days off and 24 hours. Isn't that how your schedule is?
Yeah. I don't go back for a few weeks now. Get through Maple Weekend and then go back to it. But
Let me see.
We got the Bears week. I'm not sure what that's referencing, but
Probably something to do with the end of sap season. Your black bears come out of hibernation.
oh, okay.
Probably for you too, Scott.
we don't have many bears around me.
Really?
Too many people.
What?
Too many people.
Okay.
We have them.
Now what did I do? Okay, there it is.
You have bear, Nate?
Yeah. My brother took a picture of one. Said he was scared.
Do you have them ever get on your lines? Do they ever gnaw on your lines at all?
No. Happy St. Patty's, guys.
Yeah, you guys.
Is it today?
It is.
It is.
I'll be damned.
It is.
Yep. Guinness
Dave?
Day, and I'm
Yep.
not drinking that. I'm drinking the old standby.
Scott O'Dunn.
Whew. All right.
All right, guys.
What do you say? We you guys are
Sign off.
It's 9:44 for you.
I'm done.
Yeah, it's about
Good.
it.
Peace.
Hey, that was a good
Fun.
time. Hey, thanks for watching. From all these guys and myself, have a great rest of your weekend, whatever left. And remember, always,
Peace.
please keep it real.
Cheers.
See ya.